You're listening to Filmmakers Drinking Bourbon. Hey, what's up, Multiverse? This is Brandon.
And this is Alex.
And we're Filmmakers.
And we're also drinking bourbon.
Yes. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, my friend.
I need a sip of this.
Hey, dude, you seem like you had a rough day.
I don't know, man. I'm in a
BK funk?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I don't know if anybody else struggles with creative depression, but I do. And maybe we should do a whole episode on it. But it's the idea that as a creative, when you're in the midst of a project, you feel alive. You feel like you can conquer the world. You get the camaraderie from your team or your crew, especially on a filmmaking set, and everyone, when you rap, there's hugs and you feel like you've been at summer camp and it's like love all around and you got this euphoria, dopamine is being released, the whole deal. Then there's the days where you don't have a project, sometimes weeks. And for some people, hopefully it doesn't go into months, but those days get super dark for me. And so I'm in the midst of a creative depression cycle right now.
I feel like I'm right there with you. We just wrapped all these fantastic projects and it's like, what's next?
Yeah. So if you feel that way sometimes, holler at us. Let's stick together. Join the Slack group.
We should create a hotline.
Yeah, go to ftbpodcast.com. Join the Slack group and let's talk about it on Slack and see how people feel about that situation. But nonetheless, we're here. We're plugging through week after week. We're on episode, I think, 79.
Yeah, it's getting. We're coming up on our 2-year at some point.
Yeah, and you know what? We have got a great show today.
We do. We actually have a surprise.
We do. We have a lot of listeners and people who are real working filmmakers that are doing stuff. And one of those listeners, Dean, is going to be on the show. He's from New York, I think Brooklyn. We're going to dial him in to hear about his new project, hear what it's like to be a filmmaker in New York.
Let's do it. Get him on here.
So let's get him on, and then after him, I do want to follow up with the status of Otis.
Sure.
Because last week's show got a little weird.
I know, you left a cliffhanger.
I left the studio while taping.
All of our listeners are going,
everyone wants to know,
what is going on?
Is my dog alive?
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
This is like the lost episode of Dog Stories.
Stay tuned. So let's dial up. We're going to dial up the time machine modem to get us over to New York. Hello, Dean.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Dean.
Didn't know if you would
How are you guys doing?
Connect or not.
The black hole sometimes.
Yeah, the time machine, it all went through.
So where are you? Who are you? What are you, man? Go.
Wow, very broad question. I live in yeah. No, I'm a writer and director, and I live in Brooklyn, New York.
Sweet.
And I'm a human being more broadly, I guess.
Awesome. So what as far as filmmaking, what are you involved in?
Like I said, I usually write and direct my own projects. I just premiered my latest feature, which is called What Children Do. And before that, I'd made a bunch of short films, and I made my first feature film in 2009.
Nice. And did that go on? Was that just like sort of a local release? Did you screen at any film festivals? Tell us about that.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, we played a bunch of festivals. We premiered it at Raindance, and then we played festivals for like a year and a half or like almost 2 years, probably too long. And then it was really low budget and it was self-funded, so I decided to just put it online for free. So we put it on Vimeo, and it got a staff pick, and a bunch of people saw it, and it was awesome.
Wow.
That's great, man.
Staff picks like the most sought-after online accolade.
Yeah, that's awesome. So was there a strategy you had for that, or was it just kind of you threw it up there and hope for the best, or did you have like a marketing strategy behind the film?
Yeah, I was really young and I'd just gotten out of school, and so my kind of strategy was just to try to get it in front of as many eyeballs as humanly possible. And we did play a couple of theatrical cities before that, but yeah, I kind of knew, or I was comfortable kind of just realizing that the money I had invested into the film was kind of an investment into like the future and my next projects and stuff like that. And so I just kind of viewed it as a way of just trying to spread the film as widely as possible.
That's great. So did you start out in filmmaking? Did you study that? Are you a working filmmaker, or is this like a side hobby? Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I started making like little dumb movies with my friends in like middle school and high school. And then I guess it just was sort of a natural progression to go to film school. So I went to Columbia College in Chicago.
Guess who else went to Columbia College in Chicago?
You guys?
That would be me, my friend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, back in the day, man, 2000 in the late 90s, early 2000s. I actually studied audio production before they.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
Before they had all the new facilities. So but we would always hang out with the film kids as well. So good to meet you, alumni.
Yeah, I don't know what your feelings are about the Columbia, so I'll bide my time. But yeah, so I went there, and then after that, I kind of made my first movie when I was living in Chicago still at the time, and just like working menial, like shitty jobs. And after I moved to New York, I kind of started working more closely to film, of like producing videos and writing and directing stuff, as opposed to like being a barista. So yeah, it's kind of I kind of have a dual life of like during the day, usually producing short form video content, and then at night, and when I make my projects, doing sort of more my own narrative scripted stuff.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
is the goal to do solely kind of narrative scripted long form drama, or do you kind of want to balance that with commercials and that area of it?
I don't know. I think about it a lot, and I don't actually have an answer yet. I kind of like how it is right now because like I don't have to worry. I mean, my main concern when I make my films isn't like recouping the investment. So I kind of am able to like take like, risks and sort of make decisions based solely on how they'll affect the quality of the film as opposed to financial considerations per se. And so I really like that freedom of being able to kind of just do whatever the fuck I want with my films. But yeah, I would totally be open to doing it full time if that opportunity presented itself.
Nice.
Right
Very
on.
cool. So, you had some pretty good success with your first film. How did you get into the second one? How did you come up with the idea? Can you talk a little bit about the pre-production process, like developing your actual story?
Yeah, I mean, it's so the story is about two sisters who go home to take care of their grandma who's dying. And I had wanted to make a movie about sisters for a really long time just because it's kind of a fascinating personal dynamic for me. And I kind of, after the first movie, like probably most first-time filmmakers, I had just like massive delusions of how the second one would go. Like, somebody would see my movie and just be enthusiastically throwing money towards my way, which of course didn't and doesn't happen. So there was a lot of years where I was kind of just like sitting around expecting something to happen, or kind of thinking this like magical something would fall into my lap to help the second movie get made. And after a while, I kind of had some sort of come to God moment where I realized that wasn't going to happen, and I kind of just had to push the ball up the hill for the second film myself. And that kind of informed the pre-production process for my second film, of just realizing that like if anything was going to get done or get finished, it was going to be because I had to do it myself.
Yeah. I
kind of consigned. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to pull out. I think that's a great sort of takeaway for the listeners. I think, a lot of us have dreams and aspirations and passion projects, and there's these things we want to do, the film we've always wanted to make. And I think you're right. I think it's discouraging sometimes when, the magic scenario doesn't play out that's in our head, and it's easy to kind of, give up or get down. Before we, kicked off the show, I was just telling Alex how sometimes I get into a creative funk, and I know other people do too. I've talked to other people who are creatives, and when you're in the project, like life is great. And then when the project's over, it starts to become this sort of, foggy dark space. And so for you, was that the case where after the first film was out, people had seen it, you kind of, reached the mountaintop and then you kind of realized like, oh, that's it. And then you were looking towards the next peak. Was that sort of that moment? How long did that moment last? And then, is there anything that helped you get over that moment, which led you to the point you're talking about now, which was, I'm going to make this next film? Like, was there a defining moment?
Yeah, I mean, so after I made the first movie, I kind of tried to do a lot of super traditional routes of getting the second one made, of like pitching it to production companies and talking to sales agents and applying for grants and stuff like that. And none of those avenues really panned out for whatever reason. And I spent a lot of years trying to pursue those routes, thinking that like, the second movie will be easier because I made a movie and everybody is going to be impressed by that, mm-hmm. Which sadly isn't true. So what ended up happening was, a number of years lapsed where I hadn't made anything, and it was really just like a legitimate, probably what you guys have both experienced, just like rock bottom, like desperate. Crisis, basically, where I was kind of just like, I have to make a movie, like no matter what. And I kind of just decided like, I'm going to set a date and I'm going to just get whatever I can. And I'm going to make a movie with whatever I have at that moment, because I can't not make another movie for another year.
That's cool, man. I think that's encouraging for other people to hear that, sometimes it's just about putting your nose to the ground and going.
It's not immediate. Even though you've had success with one project doesn't mean you will with the next.
Was that the right phrase?
What?
Put your nose to the ground?
I don't know.
Or was it the grind?
Grind?
And why would you put your nose?
Yeah.
Why would you put your nose to the grind?
You'd put it to the ground.
What's a grind?
Dangerous.
Right?
I don't know, but as I said that, I was like, what did I just say?
I don't know. Like an
Put
ostrich.
your nose to a DVD cover of the movie Grind.
There you go. Perfect. And that always solves your problems. Inspiration.
So you decide to push forward. And now you're in the midst. So you're in pre-production, or have you shot this film, the new film?
Yes, we've shot it, and it just premiered like 3 days ago.
Wow.
Nice.
Where did it premiere?
It premiered at Cinequest in California.
Very
cool.
nice.
Very cool. And did you? I assume you had a chance to go. Was it well received? Did it? That's the thing that I think is neat. I've been in several film festivals on the documentary side, and it's always neat to see how the crowd reacts. You just don't know, because a friends and family reaction's not really a real reaction, right? Because they have this bias, but to get that cold audience, and then to see them react is vulnerable and exciting. So did you get to experience that?
Yeah, we went to. I was only able to go to 2 of the screenings, and it's really funny of you talking about that, because the first screening was at night. It was at like 9:00 or something, and I was kind of expecting that to be the really well-received one, because it's the movie's like a comedy, and it's kind of hopefully funny. And people did like it, but then the next day we had a screening at 10 a.m., which I was totally expecting to just be a bomb, just because I didn't even want to be awake at that hour. But surprisingly, that was this, like, people were just laughing at all the jokes that I wanted them to laugh at, and thought it was really funny and connected really well with it.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, I mean, it is always weird to see the jokes that people laugh at, or which people in the audience take to it really well.
For sure.
A comedy. What was the script writing process like for this film?
What's this film even called?
Yeah.
It's called What Children Do. So
Gotcha.
You said it earlier.
Yeah,
I thought that was
halfway through.
I thought we were going through the last.
No.
Sorry, my bad.
So you know in your dark time, your years between films, had you already had this film written, or when you made the decision to make the movie, is that when you
wrote the film,
laid everything down, and said, "I'm going to write this thing"?
No, I kind of had been writing it on and off for about 3 years. Maybe I had the idea 3 years before we started shooting. And it went through a lot of different iterations. Like, it originally had taken place in Indiana, and then I moved it to New York, and the characters were originally from New York, but then I moved her to LA. And so it went through a lot of rewrites, and I was kind of working on it on and off for 3 years. It wasn't ever a full-time thing.
Nice.
Did the grandma die?
What?
That's a spoiler, I think. Does anybody care? Not, yeah, like anybody's gonna not be like, oh, she died. Okay, I'm not gonna go see that.
No, we should leave. We should leave some surprises for them.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say.
It's a high stakes thriller, and you don't find out until the end.
Yeah.
Nice.
When's Liam Neeson come in?
That's not true. He's an uncredited cameo, 45 minutes through the movie.
Oh, hey, that does bring me to another question. As far as casting,
Yeah.
how did you go about finding your talent? And like you said, using kind of what you have at your disposal. Was that one of those elements?
Yeah,
or?
and just so we have context, what you had at your disposal, was that like no money, $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000? Like where are you at in the scheme of like resources? Or was this all friends?
No, it was, I mean, so the way I raised the money was, when I started writing the movie 3 years, or however many years ago it is now, 4 years, I was like editing infomercials and like shooting golf videos, just like really miserable, shitty jobs. And I was so unhappy, and I knew I needed to make a movie. So I was like, I set aside about half of every paycheck I got for 3 years essentially. And that was kind of what we had to shoot the movie with.
Wow. That
So
takes discipline.
Extremely unglamorous film financing, and also just being poor and
Frugal.
unhappy for 3 years.
How does one do that living in New York?
You don't have a lot of money. You always panic when you go out to dinner. And you don't buy anything. is
Top
basically how you do it.
ramen, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, but New York
Yeah, I ate a
ramen's
lot
like
of
expensive.
Berea pasta during that time.
Yeah.
Still in.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So you
yeah.
you use your resources, and you start to pull this thing together. Our listeners always they're all a bunch of nerds. They all want to know what'd you shoot it on, that sort of thing. So give us a rundown of like the gear list, kind of the production value aesthetic of the film.
Yeah, I mean, so we shot it on two Canon C300s with, I think we used just the 24-105 L series lens and a Sigma zoom.
Nice.
I can't remember which one that was. And yeah, we had my DP Darren is just like a total prodigy, and like he really, I mean, we had a lot of equipment, but we ended up only using one or maybe two lights in most scenes. So we used a lot of natural light because we shot upstate, and it's just naturally gorgeous up there. But also we kind of embraced the darkness and the shadows, and used a lot of practical lights as well. So it was kind of a fast-paced shoot, and I kind of like shooting that way, not waiting around for 7 hours to light a scene.
It's a risky move for a comedy to go that route. Is it more of a dark comedy, like more drama mixed in?
Yeah, it is. It's like a more like.
I mean, it's two daughters and a dead grandma, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like indie
Yeah,
comedy. Are we talking like?
It can't be that happy.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be dark, right?
Yeah, it's definitely like a grounded comedy.
Gotcha.
And like it's shot. I mean, there were times when we were kind of questioning, like, this is sort of. This looks like a scene from The Godfather. Like, are we kind of pushing this darkness a little bit too far?
Yeah.
But I really like it because it kind of plays against what you normally would think a comedy would be shot like.
That's good.
Yeah, that's funny. You mentioned C300. I just bought one. I just sold 2 of the C100s and picked up the C300 Mark II.
There you go.
Nice.
So, I like
it's a great camera. I really like shooting on it.
Cool.
Easy. So to get back to my original question,
Sorry.
Brandon hijack.
Sorry.
How'd you go about casting, and how did you find
Casting.
your
Yeah,
talent?
sorry. So the roles were really specific, and I needed to find people that were like both very, very funny, but also able to carry kind of like heavy emotional scenes, sometimes almost back to back. And so I mean, it was both kind of randomly. Like I went and saw a play in New York, and the actress who ended up playing Amy, Nicole Rodenberg, she was starring in the play, and I kind of was like, wow, she's really amazing. Like I wonder, she would probably be really good in this movie, but there's no way she'd ever want to do it. And I Googled her online and couldn't really find her contact information. So I DM'd her on Twitter and set up a meeting at a coffee shop. And she liked the script and agreed to do it. Thankfully, somehow she didn't think I was like a psycho DMing her on Twitter.
Yeah.
And Grace Rex,
a risky
who
run.
plays her. Yeah, it was a bold move, not intentionally, just kind of didn't know what else to do, unfortunately. And Grace, who plays her sister, I'd seen her in a bunch of movies. She has a staggering IMDb filmography, and I'd seen like a short film that she had made, and she was just so dynamic. She could carry like a drama or like be just like outrageously broadly funny. And also she just has such like an incredible like look. It's kind of hard to take your eyes off her when you see her on screen.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I reached out to her reps and set up a meeting, and she was on hold for like a couple of we shot during pilot season, which was also like the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. But she was on hold for a couple pilots, and so we kind of didn't know until very last minute whether she would be able to do the movie or not. But thankfully for us, neither of them went, so we got to work with her, which was awesome.
Very cool.
Now, as a part of your team, it sounds to me like you're doing everything. Like you're the producer, director. Like, are there other people? How big of a team are you? How big of a crew are you working with?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the crew was really, really, really small. Like on any given day, it was probably like 7 people maybe total. And I did have other producers that definitely I would be probably dead right now if I didn't have them. But like they were both working full-time jobs and weren't able to really, dedicate that much time because I wasn't able to pay them as much as they were making on, commercials and TV and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like while we were on set, it was like me, a DP, we had an AC, 2 producers, and a sound guy and a production designer, and that was it for most days.
Nice. Awesome. And how many days was the film?
We shot it in 14 days with 1 day of pickups back in the city. We shot it upstate in Kingston and Woodstock, New York.
Right on. Beautiful country
so pretty
in New York.
Fast. Oh, yeah, gorgeous.
Yes.
I only want to shoot movies upstate from now on.
Yeah, it's nice. I actually did a motorcycle trip through the Adirondacks, and it was pretty rad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's a biker.
Good times.
He's got a big leather jacket and a giant beard.
That is not true. I do have a giant beard.
He's all tatted up. He's pretty scary, actually.
So what would you say is your big learning, right? Because I think we always want to be a place that encourages filmmakers. We want to be a place where filmmakers feel like they can hang and have a fireside chat. And I think a lot of people, what were the things, your big takeaways? You've done 2 feature films now, basically self-funded, against all odds, but you got this thing inside you that says, I'm going to keep making films. It's what I do. What are your takeaways? Give us a couple, like, here's the things that I learned that you need to know that'll either help you or keep you from, holding yourself back.
I mean, the biggest thing that I've learned, especially on this movie, that I forgot after the first movie was, you need to have a movie that you can just make. You don't need to wait around for 14 financiers to give you $3 million and sit on your ass for 5 years. Yeah. You can definitely have those projects, and I'm not discouraging anybody from like writing an ambitious, huge movie. But like I should also say that you should have, a movie that you can make for a few $1,000 or $20,000 or something. Because yeah, I mean, you can spend a decade waiting around for people to give you the resources and the money to shoot a movie, or you can kind of just decide you're going to do it yourself. And if you make that decision, it's very hard for anybody to stop you from doing that. So yeah, at all times going forward, I'm going to have a very small movie that I'm pursuing that I know that I can find the money myself, or edit P90X infomercials and save money to do it. And then just make it myself without anybody's permission.
Yeah. Going along with that, does that kind of include, something to the effect of make the movie you want to make? Do you have to be passionate about the project in your experience, or obviously you wrote the movie, so you love the movie, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, this movie kind of took it was kind of a long tail. And I know that you could push a movie through much faster and then kind of move on to the next one right away. But I mean, yeah, like if you're doing it properly, it's like you're probably going to spend at least 3 years working on this movie, writing, shooting, editing, and then like releasing it. And so I would definitely encourage people to be passionate about the thing that they're making, because I mean, I couldn't imagine doing this process with something that I didn't love or, didn't like, just because you have to spend so much time with it and put so much money and effort and time into it. It seems like it would be suicide to not like the thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we've enjoyed talking about it. Where can we go see it? Where can everybody go see this stuff that you've done?
All of my shorts and my first feature are on Vimeo. You can just search Dean Peterson, I think. I don't actually know what the URL is for Vimeo.
I'll search it now.
But yeah, go on Vimeo and search Dean Peterson. My first feature is called Incredibly Small, and I have a bunch of short films on there too. And then my new feature, What Children Do, is going to be playing a bunch of festivals this spring and summer and fall.
Okay.
So keep your eyes peeled. Keep your nose to the grind.
Keep your nose to the ground.
For our listeners out there, it's actually vimeo.com/Peterson Cinema.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There you go.
Check that out. Follow him. Connect with us. We'll get you linked up and whatnot. But man, it's been a joy talking to you. It's been really cool to hear your story and your perspective. I think you've got some great words for the listeners, and I think for me, you kind of pepped up my day, buddy. I came in a little down, but man, you got down and then you made a film. I haven't made shit.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, that's cool, man.
To cap it off, what's the next thing for you, Dean? Where are you off to now? Are you off for more screenings? Are you off to write another feature? What's going on?
Yeah, we're doing, like I said, we're doing a bunch of festivals for What Children Do, and then I'm actually writing another very small movie that we're going to shoot in October. I'm writing it with Nicole, who is in What Children Do. So yeah, we're just gearing up to do another
on to the next one.
Tiny self-funded movie.
Awesome, brother.
That's great.
Well, all the best of luck to you.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, man. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, well, you're welcome to come back anytime. Just holler out and let us know what you're up to and what you're making. And it's always great to hear from filmmakers across the globe, even in small old New York City.
Tiny New York
Awesome.
City.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. It was great to talk to you guys.
All right, man.
Awesome, Dean.
Cheers. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Peace.
Nice guy.
Dude. Awesome. I can't wait to watch the movie now.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
I like that. I was really encouraged to hear his sort of can-do spirit.
Yeah. Well, the self-financing is hard. That is a rough road to travel down.
Didn't he say he saved for 3 years?
He said years. I'm assuming 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
But I
it's a
mean, you're
safe
talking
assumption.
about like
half of every
you're
paycheck.
giving up the luxuries that you might enjoy.
Yeah.
Traveling, eating out, hanging with friends, going to the bar, whatever it might be, going to see the old Mets play, the old Yanks.
Pain now for pleasure later.
And, I think that's great. And I think there's a lot of people out there right now who hopefully are hearing this and they're going to say, you know what? He's right. The time is now. And they're going to go make these films. And if you're out there and you're going to do that, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Holler at us and say, hey, we listened to your podcast. We heard a great story of a filmmaker in New York, and we're going to go make our film now because we realize there's no time but now.
It's always the right time. But not only a filmmaker, a successful filmmaker.
Yeah.
He's had festival screenings. He's had theatrical debuts. He's on to his next one.
Yeah, man.
It's great.
So, it was nice.
Very, very cool. Well,
excellent.
Yeah. Cheers to Dean.
Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers to a good filmmaker.
Good guy who, we wouldn't have known unless he was a listener of the show.
No.
And that's what's cool about this show.
Here's the thing that I have to throw out. I want to thank our producer. I want to thank Frank. Frank for
Frank the Tank.
lining up that interview.
Yeah.
For kind of, digging through and for all of you listeners out there, I'm sure he's been a contact point. If you try to contact the show, you're going to get Frank before you get Brandon.
He's going to get the listener mail, all that stuff.
Yeah. So just thanks to Frank.
Thanks to Frank. Yeah. He gets it done.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, brother.
So how are you, man?
I'm much better now.
Yeah, I know. It was it was a little pep talk. It just happened.
I'll be honest. I'm really good at putting on a smile even when I'm not happy inside.
You've been experiencing creative depression?
Yeah.
Otherwise known as CD?
CD, yes. If your loved one
not ED.
has been afflicted with CD.
Not ED, but CD.
Yeah, there's a pill for that.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no pill for CD.
There's no pill for CD. Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm in the same kind of boat, between projects, not really knowing what's next.
And here's what's crazy about CD.
Huh.
You just came off of a feature film with Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
24 days.
22. Yeah.
Working your butt off with all-star cast.
Yeah.
Most people would die to be in your shoes. Most people, most of our listeners who are DPs and shooters would say,
I'm going to take a picture of my shoes.
You know what I'm saying? They would love to be in your shoes, shooting B cam, A cam, whatever cam, on a feature film directed by Emilio Estevez. Yet here you sit, experiencing the symptoms of CD. Yeah. This is a real thing. Like, this is irrational. There's no reason you should feel like this, but it's a real thing. And I know it's a real thing. And I feel your pain. I get it. I get it. I don't look at you and say, oh, I can't believe you're saying that because you got to work on this big film, whatever. I get it. Like, I totally get it.
I think a big part of what you just said is the key, is that it's irrational, right? There's not a lot of what we do
absolutely
is rational.
Well, and here's the thing. Whenever I hit these moments creatively, I sit down with a pen and paper, and I have an ongoing list. I could probably pull it up right now. I have an ongoing list.
You took this from me.
I think you gave this to me. This is an exercise of appreciation.
Yes, every night.
And I don't do it every night, but I created a gratitude list. And I list my kids, my wife. I have a great house, cars that are reliable, pets that are wonderful. I get to travel and have vacation. My bills are paid. I don't have to, really worry about that. No. I've got good health care. I've got a great education. I'm a smart guy. I can read. I can challenge myself, all this sort of things. I have the freedom to do so.
Yeah.
I love my neighborhood, my neighbors.
The best podcast co-host in the world.
Yes. So and I think when you start to think about that stuff, you're like, my life is pretty charming. And then you realize, but why do I feel like this? And then you get that next project and you're like, I'm alive.
Yeah. You're a creative person, but not only creative, you're motivated.
Yeah.
There are plenty of creative people that are unmotivated.
Sure.
So yeah, they can create great work, but they don't really care. The fact that you are down means you care.
Man, always trying to spin it. I don't want to make this about me.
No, you're caring.
I'm just kind of pointing it out that I think it's because I know it's something me and we always support each other whenever we have those moments, and so I think it's it's worth talking about.
Again, back to what I originally said. Let's set up a hotline. 1-800-CD now.
1-800-FDB-CD.
FDB-CD now. Yeah, whatever 7 digits adds up to.
So anyway, aside from that, I do want to update everybody on the last show.
From the cliffhanger?
The cliffhanger that was my dog.
Yes.
So Otis is doing just fine. He did experience 3, 4, 5 days of
near death.
Incontinence.
What? So I have a little inside
your
info
wife, yeah. So in the midst of it, I'm a little worried. It randomly snowed the day I was going to take him to the vet. I could not. The roads were blocked down. I could not. It was I could not get him to the vet. So I called you and said, have Kristen call me. So dude, she's awesome. She calls.
I'm well aware of that. Yeah.
She's amazing. She calls and she's like, "What's going on, Brandon?" And I'm like, here's the deal. And she's like, asking me this, asking me that. And she's like, all right, I want you to do this, this, and this. I'm going to write in this prescription for this. Boom, 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 boom. And sure enough, he's back. She saved his life.
She's a pro.
She saved his life.
She's the best.
He's back in action. Otis is doing well. Everybody's fine. The family's happy.
Yeah.
It's good.
My wife's a killer vet.
But for a minute.
Not a killer vet. Like a good vet that I term killer.
Sure.
But
in the moment last week.
Yeah.
When your daughter texts you and she seems distraught, you take the text.
Yeah.
You step out of the room, you make the call.
You get out, and then you leave your co-host to flounder. And
The best part
and
was
go, Frank.
the best part was listening back. My neighbors. I played that segment back with the neighbors because it was kind of comical. And the best is Frank walks in and he's like, "Talk about lighting."
Yeah. To the point.
Talk about lighting.
He's got
and that was it. It was like all you got.
A bullet point list.
Cold-hearted Frank. Frank the Tank. It was awesome.
Well, dude, that's a good part of it though. He's got like a checklist of okay, what would make the show better? Lighting.
Sure. Yeah.
Talk about lighting.
Talk about lighting.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all you got. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But anyways.
Ah, man.
Anyways.
I'm glad to hear that Otis is better.
He's back. He's better.
Thank you, Kristen.
He is better. But I did want to, I feel like we cut our conversation a little bit short with your experience on that film. That's 22 days of filmmaking that I would like to, I have more questions.
Sure.
So I would like to have you on my show.
Okay. Go ahead. Well, it's great to be here in Studio B. Thanks, Brandon, for having me.
So picking up kind of where we left off from last show.
Yeah.
You were on a show called The Public, Cincinnati Library, directed by Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
All sorts of famous dudes in the movie. We talked about that, you couldn't really afford to pay them. Their going rate. I mean,
I don't know about that.
It was crazy. I mean, these guys are big budget guys that were working on a smaller.
Well, you've got
smaller film.
The leading Trump impersonator.
Yeah,
you've got
you got.
Hey Bart, is there any bourbon in that cabinet behind you?
There's some in the plastic bottles. We're going for round 2 bourbon right now.
Sorry
we're calling in.
Sorry to dip out of this, but
we're calling in the back.
Reinforcements.
There you go.
We need some reinforcements.
Yeah, the plastic
here.
bottles. There you go.
All right, so Bart's digging through.
Bart's digging in another pour for us.
What's that?
We got some Kentucky Tavern, some Benchmark. We got some good stuff.
I think we've just set a new benchmark.
We've never called in for we never called into the bullpen to get reinforcement bourbon.
Flying in bourbon.
Flying in. All right, what do you?
Nice. Just set it all here.
Yeah, we'll just take it.
Ooh, very old Barton.
Thank you.
As in Bart.
Thank you, Bart.
Thanks, man.
Kentucky Tavern, very old Barton, and Benchmark.
All right, so
go ahead.
So really, what I wanted to get into a little bit, you talked about that the film was a lot of natural or available light, along with the light, the ambient light that was in the space.
Depending on the situation, there were a few locations like the homeless shelter, the night street exterior of the library, where it was super lit.
Right, and by the way, footnote: right now, this conversation is not going to make any sense unless you go back and listen to last week's episode. So stop tape, go listen to last week's episode, and then come back. Everything
kind of important.
Everything after the interview with Dean is not going to make sense. You got to listen to episode 78.
True.
All right. So here's what I really wanted to get at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I think a lot of people know, we like to hear the gear, we like to hear the lights, we like to hear the setups, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I want to know about the experience. As a director, what was it like working with Emilio? What was his directing style? Did he give a lot of feedback to the actors? Did he give a lot of feedback to the crew? Talk about the experience. What was the day-to-day? How was it working with the actors? Was the DP vocal? Was he quiet? A little bit of that experience.
In 3 words, best project ever.
Yeah, you'd mentioned that before.
Simple. Emilio was fantastic as both the director, as an actor, as the kind of lead man on the entire project. This is his baby.
Sure.
He wrote this thing. He has a passion for both the story and the kind of heart behind it. It's about homeless kind of people that are cast aside by traditional society that find a voice. And he was a really good.
So did each day
conductor?
What was the camaraderie? Did each day start off like? Was it like a cold set? Was it warm and fuzzy? Did it start off with sort of a kickoff, like, "Hey guys, here's what we're trying to achieve today. Let's all get to work." Like
every day. So typical day. I drive into set. I park in a spot in the lot down on Lynn Street. That area very well from your past job. Go grab a breakfast burrito. Throw my backpack over my shoulder. Hop on the transportation passenger van. Hey, Shorty, what's up? Good morning. Oh, yeah, we're here early. All right, let's go. Anybody else coming? Nope, nobody else is coming. Let's do it. she drives me to set, or he or whoever's there, whatever transpo, Teamster, hop out on the corner of 8th and Walnut.
At the library.
Yeah. Walk through the library, show them my badge. Yep, I'm with the movie. Going on up to the 3rd floor, hit the 3rd floor, social sciences desk. Emilio, what's up, man? Big hug. You ready for today?
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. Hey, Juan Me, the DP. What's up, dude? It's going to be a good one. All right, fist bump. Boom.
Right.
Grab some coffee. Got my coffee. Tom, my first AC. Hey, what's up, dude? Just talked to Juan Me. We're going to be on a 35 millimeter. We're starting off handheld. Dave's doing a big steady cam.
Camera's
move,
built. Ready
and then
to go.
we're going to bump in for coverage. Like that's the start
Right,
of the
so
day.
you're getting the game plan. You're getting the go-to. All right,
but it's
that's
always
fun.
it's warm, it's fuzzy, it's a hug from Emilio, a fist bump from Juan Me. It's
That's
let's
cool.
get ready to tackle the day.
Because I don't think all films are like that, and I don't think
Not at all.
especially in the commercial world.
No.
Sometimes you get a lot of pretension. You get a lot of people who think they're important.
Yeah.
You get a lot of don't bother me, those sort of things. And
Yes.
I would think in the film world, there's a lot of I'll be in my trailer. That doesn't sound like that was the kind of movie you were on.
Sometimes there is.
Sure.
On this one, no. I think at this point, you can already consider Emilio Estevez a member of the Cincinnati community. He's part of it.
Yeah.
He's not a dude. Oh, he's not here from LA visiting, making a movie in Cincinnati. He is a Cincinnatian at this point,
Sure.
making a movie in a town that he loves.
Yeah.
So when you show up on set, it's
So that came through.
it's dude. We're your crew now.
Yeah.
We're not like hired by your company. We are your crew. We are family. Let's make this thing. We all believe in this product.
Sure.
Boom.
That's cool.
It
man.
was really heartwarming. Yeah.
That's awesome. So now, as far as the flow, like let's say, walk us through the like a scene, right? So you're there, you get the coffee, AC's got cameras built, you're getting ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
You block out the scene, the actors come in, like talk a little bit through,
Yes.
like let's just say one scene, like the first scene of the day. Talk about that.
Sure. Okay. So, like I said, we show up on set, say hi to Emilio, hi to Juan Me, our bosses. They're usually going over the script, going over the plan for the day, maybe doing a few little reorganizing. Maybe Emilio's doing a few rewrites, pulling out some dialogue that, we're a little behind. We don't really need this. Let's pull that out. Let's tackle this person now. Right. So I go say hi, realize that they're working through something. Maybe it's not the time to say hi. Go get my coffee. They come out. It's pretty evident, when things are getting ready to start going. SB Weathersby, our first AD, comes over. He goes, here you go. Operators get we get our shot lists. Here's what Emilio and Juan Me have decided. Here's what we're going to shoot today. See everybody start kind of walking around. They're blocking out the scene without the actors, just themselves kind of walking through it. Juan Me will say, here's where we're starting. We're going to start with A-cams doing a steady cam push from the door to the counter, through the book stacks, whatever the scene is.
Sure.
He's on this lens. Dave comes over. We've all got our little Artemis app. So for anybody out there, looking for a really good viewfinder on set, Artemis is a really good app that you can use. You plug in your camera, your lens package, your aspect ratio, and it'll show you exactly the field of view. So we've all got those out. We're walking through the scene, blocking it out prior to the actors being there. Just kind of general ideas. Dave's on this lens. Alex, this would be cool if we would cover the dialogue portion of Emilio with talking to Jenna, one of the other characters. This would be great on 65. And so I pitched that. Juan Me likes it. Emilio likes it. Okay, Tom, put us on a 65. B camera goes to 65. C camera, she picks out her shot, Amy. Then we get the actors in. That all could change.
Sure. You got to start somewhere.
So but we have a general idea, and we know the first scene that we're doing. We get a set of sides with the call sheet,
Yep.
And so we know the first scene that we're shooting. Operators are reading through the sides, knowing our cues, when to pan, who to focus on, all that jazz. The actors come in, they block out the scene. Things change a little bit. Tom, okay, that 65 is not going to work. That's a little too tight. Things are a little too crazy. Let's go to a 40.
Yep.
Right, let's go to a 50, whatever. Maybe Juan Me's got some ideas. He's like, no, you know what? Just get this shot, get this angle, go to a 75, and just focus on that tight portion.
Yep.
But then you got to back out of there as soon as Dave swings around, A-camera swings around, because you're going to be in the shot. So it was a lot of like just
logistics
kind of working
and,
through as it happens.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It was good.
And so typically how many scenes and setups would you do a day?
We would do about seven and a half pages a day.
Okay.
Pages.
And would any of that entail like a company move, or was that mainly all on same location?
A lot of it would be, so a lot of the movie takes place in that one third floor social sciences desk location with book stacks and a desk and kind of a common area. Some days, though, there was one day we had 3 locations. You know, we'd shoot a half a page here and
now, were you
2.5
moving, or
pages
did you
there.
have different units? Like you already had like a whole nother set of gear at those locations?
No,
All right,
we'd have to pack up.
You were packing up.
You pack everything into the trucks. You break everything down. All the lighting breaks down. All the cameras break down. You secure it in the trailer. Move, half a mile, whatever it is, to the next location. Unload, rebuild, relight, reblock.
And you did 3 in a day?
Yeah, there was one day I think we did 3 of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So sometimes it was hectic. A lot of the movie was, like I said, in that one location. So it's just kind of at the end of the day, ACs break down the camera. They leave the body on the cart, and they just push the cart into one of the rooms and lock it away.
Man, that sounds like a lot of fun. It seems like I know as I talked to you throughout the process, although it was few and far between since you were working pretty big days, you definitely seemed really encouraged, and it was seemed like a really fun
it's a perfect
film
project
to be on.
But it all stems, I think, in any project, it's all kind of top down. If you've got people that believe in the project, believe in the outcome, capabilities, whatever, they're super passionate about it, that feeling trickles down.
Yeah.
So Juan, me, and Emilio, who love the story, who love the town, whatever, have high hopes and dreams for the end product, everyone feels that.
Yeah.
And so us as operators, we're like, oh my God, okay, we got to do this right. We got to
you got to
boom. We got to be in the right place, right time. We got to pan, boom, boom, boom. Okay, ACs. Okay, maybe it's going to be a little hectic. You're not going to get your marks on time. You're not going to whatever. We're just going to have to fly through this. They rock with it. They love it, and that trickles down the second ACs to the lighting department to whatever. Everybody feels this sense of like this is something special. When you've got Emilio Estevez going, I love this story. I love these people. I love this cast. It feels good.
Yeah. Now, was there? You mentioned a lot of local crew on that.
Yeah.
How many people did they bring in? How many were there other people, or was it literally all an all local operation here?
90% local, I'd say. We had, Amy Faust, who was the just one example of how the crew kind of changed a little bit. She started out as the first A camera for the first week because Juan Me, who's the DP, his regular AC was in Andrew, who was in New York. He's a New York guy. He was on a show with Spike Lee.
Gotcha.
So he wanted to finish out the show, and he was like, "Okay, cool. I'll just, we'll have a local start the show, prep the package, do all the crewing, all that stuff." Week 1 goes by. Andrew comes in. Amy moves to C operator. We had it on a C camera, so she had an Alexa Mini, whereas we were on like XTs, big kitted out packages. Sure. She was kind of stripped down and small. She could be really nimble and get, pick off faces and reactions and whatever. So she did some C camera days. And then she only had a first AC. She didn't have a second AC. So she's kind of a small ninja unit almost.
Sure.
Then it got to a point where it's like, oh, well, this makes sense we can capture some of this other establishing stuff of the city, like the opening of the movie. It's a sequence of landmarks in Cincinnati. It makes sense to send out a second unit. Okay, well, you need Dave and me on main unit capturing the dialogue. Send out Amy. Amy's got the stripped down package. She's able to move. She knows the city.
Yeah.
She became second unit DP.
Nice.
So she was able to capture the opening of the movie.
That's
pretty awesome. So she moves from first AC A camera to C camera operator to second unit DP. And the joke at the end of the movie is like, this is going to be the Amy Faust show. Yeah, all these listed credits.
That's
just
cool.
Give her producer credit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she killed it.
That's awesome.
Really, really cool.
Yeah. Well, it's such a great thing to hear.
Sorry, to go back to your original question, 95% of the crew was local. We had a few people come in, because we don't have like a gigantic crew base here, we had to fill positions with outside crew members. Like we had a few ACs come in from Chicago,
Right.
from New York, from LA to kind of just help it get along. But yeah, mostly here.
That's the sound of a
It's a plastic bottle.
plastic bourbon bottle.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well,
pretty cool.
That's great to hear. Those are the things that I think are interesting that a lot of times people don't get to hear.
Yeah.
People always get to hear about gear. People always get to hear about big stars, but they don't often get to hear about just sort of the interaction, you know. And I think that's a unique perspective.
Yeah, I went into it with kind of not knowing what it was going to
Yeah.
be like. I'm like, oh my God, Emilio Estevez is he wrote this thing, he's producing it, he's directing it, and he's the lead. Like, what's this going to be? Is he going to be overtaxed, overstretched? Is he
Yeah.
going to be a nice guy?
Overzealous,
Who knows? He was awesome.
of course.
He's like the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he cares.
that's cool.
He loves the project. He wants to make movies in Cincinnati. Like
And you said that film's supposed to release soon.
this November. Yeah.
All right, man.
So
Well, be on the lookout for it if you're listening. If
the public.
if any of that piqued your interest, holler at us at ftbpodcast.com, Twitter, Insta. You know where to find us.
I think it's gonna be a really good movie.
I would imagine
way.
so. I would think it would be.
Before we move on, I want to turn it around.
Sure.
I know you haven't been working on a lot lately, and you're kind of in a dark spot.
It's not that bad.
You know, you're
It's not
you're
horrible. It's not
reevaluating
horrible.
your entire existence. What are you excited about?
Yeah. So a
That's what I wanna know.
couple things. We actually just had the local Cincinnati Advertisement Awards, the Cincinnati Addies. Cincinnati's. And it was cool. We ended up getting quite a few silver awards. We got, I think, 5 silver awards.
Wow.
You, my friend, are credited on one. We got a silver for cinematography for the University of Cincinnati project we did.
Sweet.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can we add sound effects at this point? Crowd effects?
It's a golf clap.
Bart's like, I'm not adding sound effects. He's in the booth.
He's already got
in
it.
the booth clapping.
He's
So-
already has to cut in Dean Peterson's audio. Sends it over.
So we got silver for that. We got a silver for the campaign of the UC.
Nice.
There was some small social media spots we did, little 15 seconds we did along with that. So
Yeah.
we got a campaign award.
Great campaign.
And then I got 3 silver Addies for the project I did with Lunazul Tequila
Yeah.
in Mexico.
Because you killed it.
One of which
Because you crushed it
was my first award ever
for cinematography.
for cinematography. So I was actually pretty excited about that.
You
So-
are now an award-winning cinematographer.
well, technically, very small award.
You're an award-winning cinematographer.
True
Yeah.
story. So yeah, it was fun, and so that was kind of exciting.
You're now my competition.
Yeah, exactly.
I must now separate myself from you.
We have spent just a ton of time. I'm kind of feeling the after effects of all the energy we've put towards sort of the new rebranding of LeapFrame.
Yeah.
And LeapFrame.com and all of our social
Which
concepts.
looks great, by the way.
Thanks, man.
It's a killer brand.
We put a lot of work into it, and I think on our blog there's an article by Kyle, our designer. We just published. It's called Designing Attitude.
Yeah.
And we're part of the Leap group, which has a specific look as well. And so we were limited on what we could do with a quote logo. And Kyle just was amazing at bringing. We need to get him back on the show, but he brought a different attitude to it, where he said, when you're limited with a logo, it's really more about what can you create around it. And so he really wanted to capture, what it means to move and animate and all of those things. And so he approached it as he wanted to create an attitude, a way that everything surrounding the brand, you would look at it and go, "That's LeapFrame," because you could see the attitude, you could feel the vibe.
It's unique.
So everything from the apparel, t-shirts, hats, all the way to some direct mail campaigns we had with agencies, with screen printed posters, the website, all that stuff has a very specific attitude. It's got
even more base than that, more lower level. The first thing I noticed, Leap is green.
Right.
Everything's green. Green, green, green. Leap, 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 leap. It used to be leapfrog.
right.
How did you guys go about the new color?
Well, that was
That's the first thing I noticed.
Sure.
Was like, It's not green.
No, it's not green. Leap frame is now pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shifted to pink. Kyle just did. He's got a good eye, and he's a great designer, and he just kind of, he has a kind of a good sense of where design's going to be.
Gut instinct.
And he kind of started putting together this pink and green setup that at first was like really wild to me, and then I started realizing that it made sense, and he really started to give it some context. And now, I mean, if you look around the internet, I mean, pink and green are two of the biggest trending colors this year.
I just did a music video that was pink and teal.
So we actually Kyle was actually way ahead of the curve. Like he was wanting to go with this really bold, bright pink green setup like, last year, and all of a sudden I start seeing pink and green everywhere.
He's ahead of the trend.
He's like ahead of the trend. So, but it's just bold, it's playful, it's fun. We've really worked hard on refining our point of view. Video with heart takes clients with guts. And what we're really trying to say there is just that, it's the clients and it's the people, it's the brands, it's the films, whatever you want to call it, that take a chance. They take a chance to do something different, to do something bold. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones who get the payoff, the ones who get, the press and the notoriety and the ones who, people talk about. And, you don't
get an award for playing it safe.
Yeah, you don't get an award for playing it safe. And, safe sometimes is relative. So, maybe for one company, being bold or being gutsy means something for another company. But we just want to be the brand that encourages that and really says, hey, we're not afraid to get a little gutsy as well. So that's real important to us, and that's kind of what we're putting out there. And so spend a lot of time on that. So we're excited to launch it, but we're waiting for some of that, the fruit of our labors to kind of pay off with future projects, those sort of things, which will come.
Like anything in the industry, it's only a matter of time.
Sure.
You just gotta you've put in the groundwork. You've laid the base.
Put my nose to the ground.
Nose to the ground. You've ground your axe on the grind.
Yeah.
However you want to put it,
good.
You've put in the man hours.
So that stuff's fun. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the new camera I just ordered.
Yeah, C300 Mark II.
So,
which whoever pitched that to you, whoever said that's a great idea.
Well,
I've
loved
that guy or gal.
Yeah, I love the C100s. I know we've been having a conversation on Slack. A lot of our listeners are Blackmagic fanboys, and
which with Firehouse Creative, we've had
he's our guy. We like him. He's good.
We've had a little conversation.
He had
a
great podcast, by the way. If you go back and listen to his episode that he did, guest podcast,
he's
good.
Great. Yeah, fantastic.
But yeah, so and again, I think it is a little bit about what you know and what you're used to, but I really did enjoy the C100s, and for me the C300 Mark II is it's the right camera to bump into 4K and
the ecosystem.
Yeah,
like you're like you said, you've shot on C100s for forever.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense.
And here's the cool thing
Better
is
image
that
quality. 4K.
I was able to sell the C100s in like 8 hours.
Well, you sold one on the Slack group.
Yeah. So, and that's what's cool about the Slack group. And I encourage anybody who listens or who's on the Slack group, feel free to do the same. I mean, it's there for that reason to network and to throw things out. I just threw it out there and said, hey, here's the camera. Here's sort of the price. If that's helpful for anybody. Yeah. And I'm really excited that I think two really cool filmmakers picked them up, and they're going to make some great content with it.
You got one on the local Facebook site and one on the Slack group. We should create. So we have a thing called Gear Talk, a section on the Slack group.
Yep.
We should have one specifically for like a marketplace.
There you go.
I think so. Just
FTV
to differentiate.
Marketplace.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
Just to
put it out there.
I'll talk to Slack about it. To Frank about that.
Yeah. So anyway, I went ahead and made the jump and picked up the C300.
When's it come in?
Like Monday. So basically, the main reason for that was we used to when we first started in 2013, we were doing a lot of more corporate video style stuff where it was like interviews of CEOs just talking and talking and talking.
That's how they got to where they are.
And the only way you can shoot that is with two cameras. Otherwise, you just do not have enough B-roll to cover that amount of talking.
No.
And so you need to have something to break it up. And as we got further away from doing a lot of that type of content, I realized I had a camera that just literally sat on the shelf all the time. And I said,
which one?
One of the C100s. I had two. And I thought, we're not using this. And every project that we do and the projects that we want to do are really single camera shoots that are,
High-end.
focused, great interviews with, great B-roll. And so we decided we needed to upgrade. Every so often you upgrade. And so I said, let's dump those and bump it up and get the C300.
Was the one of the biggest buzzwords nowadays, was 4K a big determining factor?
I'm not going to lie, it was. We did not have a internal 4K camera. A lot of companies do. A lot of companies locally do. And some people that aren't the wiser, whether it be agencies or companies who are hiring us, they just know and hear the word 4K. And they don't realize that most videos that they're going to put on their social media site or on their website or wherever are not going to be 4K.
No.
And but there's a sense of you feel like you're getting something when you're getting the 4K or whatever. So just to stay with the times, it's important. So that was a part of it. But really, it was just it was more of having that next level option, the pro level features and connectors and all that stuff that one would want. There's times where we're doing a project that is a commercial project, and I wanted to have a camera in house that we feel confident with shooting those. If we don't decide to rent something like a Red or an Alexa.
Something that just came to mind. So with any big upgrade like that, you upgrade a big piece of your core gear, like your camera. All the accessory stuff kind of has to be upgraded as well.
Yeah, you got to.
It's not just a single piece.
No, you got to,
investment.
and that's why when it's deceiving when camera companies list their prices, because whether it's Blackmagic, Alexa, Red, whatever, the camera body itself, literally just the body, might be X. Amount.
But you
let's
can't
just
run
say
it
it's
without
10,000 or 5,000.
YZ,
But you can't
FW.
really run it without the the C300. I bought 3 batteries, and I added on the CFast cards, a CFast reader, even just a base kit. The camera is listed at 11,000, but it ended up being 13,000. Once you start adding all the
accessories,
the little extras that you need. And so
the big thing I was just thinking about, just popped in my brain, was the wireless. So you, mainly you, went to Wooden Camera. You said, hey, I'm gonna buy this monitor, this wireless solution. I need a cage to kind of tote around my director's monitor. The dongle that plugged into the C100 that actually broadcasts the signal is HDMI.
Yes.
What are you going to do about that?
I've got a solution.
Do you have an SDI to HDMI box?
Yeah, actually.
Or are you just going to upgrade to a bolt, a Teradek?
I might. I'm probably going to upgrade my monitor.
Yeah, it's a good monitor.
It is a good monitor.
It's the AC7, the small HD.
But some of their newer ones have like built-in LUTs and some other cool things that are desirable. But Blackmagic actually makes a SD or HDMI to SDI converter.
Perfect.
Or I'm sorry, that might be vice versa. They make an SDI to HDMI converter, so I can take.
So you can plug it to a professional camera.
I can go out of the C300 to this little guy and still wirelessly get to HDMI. My current monitor.
Good. I was just thinking about that.
Problem solved.
Hopefully there's not a well.
Well, here's the thing. If not, I'll sell the C300. I'll sell my rig and deal, and we'll get a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
And somebody else will get a good deal on an AC7.
There's an option. Yeah.
So that's what I love about this industry is that one man's junk is another man's gold.
Well, everyone's at a different level.
You know what I mean?
So you've upgraded to this. There's still a guy or 10,000 guys
he's got
that are at the HDMI level.
Yeah, or you got guys
level.
on some DSLRs. They're shooting on some sort of a Canon Rebel something or another. And for them, a C100 is a whole nother jump into like cinema.
Yeah.
So
no doubt. But it's just tiered. It's what you need for the current project. If a Rebel T3i, T5i, whatever the new thing is now, is great for what you're doing, so be it.
Yep.
Yeah,
just like Dean said, just make it.
Make it
whatever.
With what you got.
Make it with what you got. I will say though, I am a little jealous and a little excited about this Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro.
with the built-in NDs.
Yeah, it does feel like there's something going on there, but I don't know. I feel like there's just so much trust in history with Canon with me that I'm just having a hard time making that jump.
Well, the thing
but
is,
if this Blackmagic Mini Ultra Pro releases and it's just like
I love your adding words there.
Yeah.
Ultra Pro.
If it's rock solid,
massively Ultra Pro.
If it's rock solid,
4K.
If it's rock solid, super reliable, and it just starts to, and then at some point I'm going to start to say, you know what, I'm going to put them in the mix.
Pick one up.
So and
but it's not that expensive.
Kudos to all the early adopters. They're winning right now. They are winning.
I've seen some fantastic images from the 4.6K.
Yeah.
I will say though, going with the Blackmagic, talking point here. They just released something that I'm even more excited about than a camera, and that is the micro and mini panels for DaVinci Resolve. They released a $4,000 mini panel,
like hardware kit.
Yeah, so with the tracking balls and the rings and the physical buttons that
which
you can
don't
control DaVinci
actually
Resolve.
need.
It speeds up the workflow a lot, honestly.
Yeah. Or
and
you can just hire somebody.
For $4,000, yeah, or you can, a professional colorist. But if you're doing it yourself, if you're one of those one-man bands, if you're a small production company that does their color in-house, this is going to save you so much time. The micro panel is $1,000. It's $995. And you have physical tracking ball and ring and physical button controls for DaVinci Resolve. That's insane. Like, I might pick that up just so I can do my reel.
Nice.
Just so I can tweak little things as I post it to Vimeo. But
it's good stuff.
I think
it's a whole world out there, Alex. There's a whole world out there of exciting things.
Well, the cool thing is just the options.
Yeah.
We're not constricted. We're not limited.
No. Not anymore.
I'm going to shift gears. You shift gears? You ready to shift?
Yeah, shift it.
Okay. Well, let's go to watching.
Oh.
There's a talking point that if you're a listener, we usually bring up, what are you watching?
Yes.
In your darkness, in your depression, your sadness, your lamenting of current activities and events in life, what are you soothing your soul with?
Well, here's the
visually?
thing. This is part of my dilemma. I typically don't soothe the soul. I typically continue to consume the same stuff, which usually is drama.
Yeah.
Like
dark.
Yes. So I am right now.
I'm sad. I'm going to watch Bloodline.
Yeah, right now I am completely in on The Path. I think it's a great show.
That's so dark.
Aaron
and weird.
Paul. I know, but I got a weird dark side, I guess.
Just don't join a cult, please.
Trust me, that will not happen.
Please don't join a cult.
Yeah, I was already a part of one.
Unless it's a filmmaking
Not going to
cult.
be a part of that one. I was a part of the
religious cult.
The Judeo-Christian cult. Sorry. But anyways.
The Path, really? That's all you're doing?
Watching The Path, watching a lot of Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. I'm on season 2 now. One. Well, it's they're still making it.
Oh, I thought they were done.
They're on like season...
he has no reservations and something else.
I don't know. I'm watching Parts Unknown, and it's great.
Okay.
It's absolutely great, and I'm enjoying that.
Streaming?
Yeah, and then I'm playing Zelda, the new Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
I'm a gamer.
Dude,
I'm a casual gamer, but we picked up the Switch, but we have a real problem in the house, and that's me and the 8-year-old are not seeing eye to eye on style of play. We actually got into an argument last night. I had to walk away.
What?
I ended up taking a shower to relax and kind of like try to recenter myself.
What are the differences
I wasn't
style
angry.
of play, though?
Well, he wants to do like free play, which is he kind of wants to chase his fancy. So on this game, you can do whatever you want. You can climb a tree, climb a mountain, whatever you want. So he sees a rabbit. He's like, oh, I wonder if I can ride the rabbit. And I'm like, no, you can't ride a rabbit. You ride a horse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you hunt a rabbit. And he's like, oh, I just want to see it. So he's like chasing his fancy and doing all this weird stuff. And like, there's chickens. I'm going to pick up the chickens and run around in a circle with a chicken over my head. And I just want to complete the objectives.
Yeah.
So here I am.
You're too rational.
I know. So here I am as a realist.
Just chase your fancy.
And I'm just trying to I want to progress the game. I want to beat the game. I want to enjoy the storyline of the game as intended through these sort of puzzles that you have to figure out.
God, you're so boring.
And meanwhile, it'll be his turn to grab the controller. And next thing you know, he's just like running in circles. And I'm like, Nash.
Yeah.
So we got into like a big argument.
How do you determine whose turn it is?
Well, we
in an adult-child relationship.
we've been working
household?
we've been working this out.
Do you roll a dice?
No,
Do you have a time limit?
No, I'm trying
Do you
to
put a sand timer down and
We've
say,
been trying to work this
been
out.
5
So
minutes?
we started off as whenever you die, you hand over the controller.
what if you never die?
Well, then you get rewarded by you're in the driver's seat.
So if you
So-
never die,
So anyway, with that said, I'm not saying I'm better than like he's really good at video games. Like he's kids are born able to play video games, especially little boys.
it's an innate human ability.
Yes. So, but anyway, that really wasn't working out. And so last night I was like, you know what? I was like, we're gonna have to create 2 accounts.
Oh no.
You can have your account and run around and do free play and
And when he goes to bed,
chase chickens.
Brandon comes out.
And then I can have my account and I can enjoy the game the way it was intended. But here's the dilemma. And I get it because I agree with him. Then he's like, but Dad, I want to experience it with you. I want to play the game with you. And I want to be best buddies and da-da-da. Which I agree. I want to do that too.
That's why you got it.
But I want to be best buddies who is following the directions of the game.
No.
So here's what we decided.
Open world means open world, Brandon.
True. Here's what we decided, and this is what I would say to all the dads out there who are trying to do this, what I'm trying to do with Zelda.
Yeah.
So where we got at was he is going to have his own account, and that's a place where he can do whatever he wants. He can chase his fancy.
Like
He can-
try to ride a rabbit.
He can try to ride a rabbit or a donkey. He can climb a tree. He can paraglide. He can shield surf. He can do all the cool things.
Shield surf?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
What?
Yes. He can do all the cool things that he wants to in this game.
Yeah.
After school, on his own, the whole deal. But when it's time, when Dad comes home and it's time for us to have guy time Zelda video game night,
Yeah.
we play the missions. Now, whether he has the controller or I have the controller, I don't care.
Missions.
I don't care, but I want to be on mission. I want to
task.
be on task. I want to be chasing the next thing that we unlock.
Checking off those boring bullet
Checking
points.
off the bullet points. I love it. And I want to just I want to experience it that way. We're going to come to some bosses. He's going to try. I'm going to try. We're going to die. We're going to celebrate together. And so I think that we've come up with a compromise.
Wow.
So that happened last night. He was tired. He was crying. It was a big deal. I was crying.
Wow. Wow. You're a merciful
Dad
dictator.
problems.
You are. Yeah.
Dad problems.
Hold on. Shield surfing?
Shield surfing.
Can you catch a barrel?
No, but if you are on top of a mountain and
Can you
have
get barreled?
yes, if you're on top of a mountain and you've got a nice run, like a nice line of grass, you jump off the cliff.
I was thinking in the water.
Dude, it's awesome. No. You jump off the cliff, hold down the left trigger,
you can't get-
hit A,
Catch a pipeline?
and you freaking slide your shield all the way down the mountain, and it's awesome. You can't rail slide or anything like that, but it's pretty rad.
Dude,
So you could have dudes at the bottom. This show's getting super nerdy right now.
that's fine.
You could have enemies at the bottom.
Yeah.
Go to the top of the mountain, shield surf down in there, and just start blasting them with arrows.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I played it the other night with my buddy Joel.
Yeah, it's fun.
And there's all sorts of super abilities. You can magnetize things.
Yes.
You can throw bombs.
Bombs, magnetics.
You can freeze water
freeze time.
into blocks.
You can freeze time. Yeah.
Why can't
Fire
we do that
arrows.
Why can't we do that in real life?
Freeze arrows. Bomb arrows.
There's no basis in reality.
It's great.
Yeah.
There's robes on it.
I know. How are you dealing with the
Well,
robe situation?
Link himself doesn't have a robe.
Well, he's got a tunic.
No, he's got shirt and a pants.
It's more of a tunic.
It's a little more of a Robin Hood-esque style,
Yeah.
which I'm fine with, but it's definitely a pair of pants and a shirt.
On his way to a robe.
He bumps into a lot of guys with robes. A lot of girls with robes.
You just throw down the controller in,
No.
in frustration
No, it's
and say,
fine.
I'm out.
It's fine. It's definitely a little more it's got a little it's like feudal living.
Feudal.
Yeah, it's like the feudal times versus fantastical sci-fi times. It feels like a pretty real city. There's some trolls, there's some sprites.
Sprites.
There's some things that are not set in reality, but that's all right.
Anyway.
But yeah.
That's cool. That's good. That's good that you get to share that with your boy. You've got a common
He's
interest,
awesome.
a
He's the
goal.
best. But we definitely, he's a hard head. He's kind of like me. We butt heads sometimes, but
So
we work
besides,
through it.
you guys are playing that. Is there anything that you guys watch together? Or is that out of the question?
we finished Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events on Netflix.
Which is creepy.
Neil Patrick Harris.
It's terrifying.
It's amazing.
With the guy
so good.
that does the voice of the paraplegic in Family Guy.
Yes.
What's his name?
I don't know, but he is
Joe.
He is
the cop.
He is great. It's an awesome show. It is very
It's well shot.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Sony F65.
Heavily art directed.
Yeah, beautiful.
He has a lot of French film sort of.
Kristen and I started watching that, and it got too sad. There was no redeeming factor as far as like
it's good, man.
Emotional well-being that we felt this is going to get any better.
It's worth watching.
It was down. And like
it's pretty good.
Really depressing.
The girl who plays the daughter is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really.
No, they're all great actors, and Neil
film.
Patrick Harris is fantastic at what he does.
Yeah.
But it's just sad. And the dude tells you, he's like, this isn't going to get any better. If you want something happy, go watch another show.
I think it's funny. Like kind of clever and funny.
It's too depressing.
Yeah. So no, we've been watching that. Big Little Liars. Me and the wife are still watching. I mean,
you guys a Disney family?
Yeah. We bought Moana. I still haven't seen it. The kids seen it. But
yeah, speaking of Moana,
we watched the Rock's Game Plan the other night. We brought that one back. That's an old movie. The Game Plan's got The Rock. It's a little girl. It's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
He finds out he has a daughter.
I like The Rock.
She changes his life.
It's like Tooth Fairy?
Yeah, kind of. It is like the Tooth Fairy. A little bit.
That guy went through a stage where he did all these little Disney movies, teeny bopper movies.
Well, he's probably under contract.
Yeah, with them. But now I think he's out of it. He's like
back to the Fast and
G.I.
Furious.
Joe, Fast and Furious, Baywatch, which is like a rated X, adult film.
I heard they almost casted you for that from your lifeguard experience.
They were looking at Zac Efron and me, and
do you remember the night
they said Alex he's just too shredded. Zach he's a little softer. Zac Efron's a little more real life. Yeah, we're gonna go with Zac Efron.
Good times. All right. Well, this podcast is going nowhere at this point.
Anyway,
it's been good chatting.
What I was gonna say is, your daughter,
yes,
is in a certain age group.
Yes,
that I just shot a music video for.
Yeah, you did. Are you allowed to talk about it or no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Justice,
the kid clothing company.
Yeah,
Teeny Bopper
Justice clothing brand.
Which, by the way, if you've never been into a Justice, which you should only ever go into a Justice if you have a teenage daughter. if you are
otherwise,
if you do not have a child and you go into Justice, it could be a little creepy. But you will be overwhelmed. It's almost like
flower power.
A rainbow blew up, and then somebody a
girl power rainbow.
and then somebody bombed it with lip smackers.
Perfect. Yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty much what it is.
It's overwhelming.
So I just shot a music video for that company and for a YouTube star that adheres to that brand.
That's her people.
Philosophy.
That's her people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like your daughter
bubblegum
like
pop. Yeah, I saw a little bit of what you showed us. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, high energy, age appropriate. I thought that was good that you guys pulled off age appropriateness. I think it's always weird when little kids are being sexy.
You can't do that.
It's kind of odd.
If you over sexualize a 12-year-old, that's grounds for expulsion from the United States.
Yeah, so I feel like it was Roman Polanski, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to go hide in another country if you start doing that, and then make award-winning films somehow.
Yeah,
but
so
anyway,
that was a cool project.
Thanks.
Is that something? When will people be able to see that?
That'll be out. So it premieres March 18th in store at all 970 Justice stores nationwide.
So they have a whole thing. They're all about creating content now. They're going to create content that reinforces the brand.
Yep.
That just creates a whole cycle of culture.
Artists that they agree with. And yeah, exactly. So anyway, the project I shot will premiere and debut in store. I think there's 970, 1,000 stores nationwide on the 18th. So Saturday.
Cool.
You can go into any Justice store nationwide and see this thing playing. They'll have a celebration of Angelique.
Well, if you and Kristen want to take Elle shopping so you have a good excuse to actually go in,
That's fine.
feel free. Come by. There's one in our neighborhood.
I'm going to be working. I'm going to be shooting a short film that has nothing to do
You're
with
like, I've already seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I spent the time there.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
So
Well,
anybody else, go see it.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Anything before we end this thing? Anything exciting coming up, or anything that?
No.
Are you on the? Are we doing a show next week?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might. I don't know if I'm available or not.
We should. If you're not, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
You've done plenty without me, where I've abandoned you. I've abandoned you.
Here's the thing about the show. It's not going away.
It's here to
It's
stay.
been here to stay, and you can see that. There's shows that come up on iTunes, and they try to do a podcast, and they think they're going to do a podcast, and they're 10 and done, 5 and done, 20 and done,
70-some and
50
still
and
going.
done. This puppy is still going. So thanks so much for continuing to support us and listen. We love hearing from you guys on the Slack group, Twitter, Insta. Just got a note the other day from somebody who said that just was appreciating the show and said it gets them through their commute.
What?
And and so I thought that was cool. And thanks so much everybody for supporting the show. We'd love for you to rate and review on iTunes if possible.
Yeah, we haven't said that in a while.
Yeah,
that is a big thing.
That really helps promote the show. And if you haven't done that yet, we'd love for you to do that right now. Actually, turn this off.
Go to iTunes.
Yep.
Well, here's the funny
Do the
thing.
thing.
When you go search filmmaking on iTunes,
Yeah.
there are only 6 podcasts above us. We are the number 7th ranked filmmaking podcast on iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little mystery to like how iTunes lists and ranks things, but yes, I would assume that
We're high up there.
we're
But it's only because
a significant
of you guys.
member.
It's only because of our listeners. If you don't like it, it's not going to get up there. So anyway, I agree. Rate and review.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's been fun. Thanks again to Sound Images, as always, for hosting us for the show. Bart, our engineer, who's always at the ready, always knows what's the cool thing.
We do keep them stocked with bourbon.
Yeah, has your album released yet? By the way, no, we teased it. It's not available yet. Okay, new song coming on Friday. Stay tuned. We'll
This is
get that
Talk?
tweeted out.
Right,
Yep.
talk.
And we'll let you know when the album drops. So you guys were just doing some photography, right? I think. Yeah. Bart has a video on his Instagram or something where he was trying to do it
the stick
he was
thing.
trying to take a cool picture with a drumstick by like bouncing it on the ground, flipping it, and then catching it. And then as he was doing it, it hit him in the nuts. And he did a kick in the nuts take, which was pretty funny.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
That's fine.
good times.
Awesome. Well, good things all around. I think,
Yeah.
the darkness has been held back.
Exactly.
We're on a brighter path.
Brighter path, and we're ending the show on Bart's nuts.
Exactly. Bart's Nuts. So that's our new title for the podcast, Bart's Nuts, episode 1. Anyway.
Episode 2.
Whatever. All right, dude. It was
All
a
right.
good episode. Thank you again to Dean Peterson. If anybody is interested,
Check
and you
out his
should
stuff.
be, go to vimeo.com/Peterson Cinema.
Slash.
Peterson Cinema. Peterson Cinema. Dean Peterson. His new film, What Children Do.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to him.
Go
Thanks
do
to
it.
you. Thanks to Bart.
And the final comment. If you are sitting on top of a script, if you're sitting on top of an idea,
Yes.
if you have a seed in your heart, go plant that seed and water it by stepping out today and saying, I am going to make this film that is in my heart. Don't wait. There's no reason. If you have to shoot it on your iPhone and you are the actor, the producer, the director, and the cinematographer, shoot a film completely based on a selfie,
Yeah.
whatever.
All you have to do is save half of your paycheck for 3 years, and you'll be fine.
So cheers to you guys out there.
Yeah.
Keep filmmaking. Keep doing your thing.
Love you.
Cheers. This podcast was recorded live at Sound Images Studio. Find out more at soundimages.com.